welcome to the Well After Hours. I'm your host, Beverly Allen, and you've turned into the place where women of faith gather together to engage in conversations that are spiritually guided by the Word of God, and where there can be strengthened and their faith can be built up. And I'm so happy that you joined us today at the Well After Hours, because we try to deal with topics that not only challenge women, but deal with the challenges of life. And today, I have such a wonderful guest. I'm so honored to have this special guest of mine today. If you don't know her, you better know her. Her name is Wincey Terry-Bryant, and her credits are numerous. And I'm going to take a few minutes now just to read a little bit about her background so you can know who we're privileged to have here with us today. Well, in 2010, Wincey founded Winceyco Books, the publishing arm of her business, which offers full book publishing services to would-be authors. Each year, Winceyco Books turns dozens of writers into published authors. If anybody wants to write a book, you better look her up. I would love to help you realize your dream of authorship by offering you the same exceptional quality of service that I provide for all of my clients. And Wincey is a resident artist for the New Jersey Performing Arts Center, a presenter of art integration assembly programs for the Arts Horizons Agency, and a teaching artist for the National Wolf Trap Early Childhood Professional Development Training Program. A professional singer, Wincey ministers at churches and also performs for other music and entertainment programs and events. She's also the creator of Traffic Jam, a program that uses the arts to educate audiences about human trafficking in our local neighborhoods, and executive director of Nana Babies, nonprofit organization. Wincey was selected to receive the Phenomenal Woman Award by KISS FM for her innovative children's programs. And more recently, she was chosen for Woman of the Year by Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated for her efforts in raising human trafficking awareness. These organizations produce musically inspired educational programs and promote philanthropic initiatives for underserved populations. Compliments to this work include 2 self-produced inspirational music projects and several educational CDs, DVDs, and children's books. Wincey sits on the New Jersey Coalition Against Human Trafficking. She is also a member of Zonta International, an organization that empowers women through service and advocacy. Oh, the Well After Hours audience, meet Wincey Terry-Bryant. Wincey, thank you so much for coming today. I could have gone on. Her credits are really so long, and I'm going to put information that you can go online and check out everything that she's done, because she's doing so much. She's a woman on the move, but she's here today because she's a champion for so many people who don't have a voice when it comes to human and sex trafficking in New Jersey. Wincey, welcome.
Thank you, Lady Beverly. Thank you for having me. I so appreciate the invitation.
Oh, I'm honored. And I want you to tell the viewing audience, because you have a date coming up, something very important is happening, which is a big reason, too, why we're doing this right now in January 2020.
Sure, I'd love to talk about that a little bit. January 11th is National Human Trafficking Awareness Day. So this January 11th falls on a Saturday in 2020, and I'll be hosting an event called Traffic Jam. It's also here on my shirt. The Lord gave me an idea when I learned about human trafficking, a way to raise awareness, because as Lady B said, I'm a professional singer, so I mix with a lot of musicians, and I take a series of arts programs into schools where I hire professional actors. So what we do is we teach the regular school curriculum using the performing arts, because people love music, they love dance, they love drama. The way we learned our ABCs was a song. If I said roses are red, you'd know to say violets are blue. So the Lord inspired me back in 1988 to take that work and take the regular school curriculum, things that kids need to learn, and put them into songs and stage plays. Wonderful. The first program that I did was a Black History play. It's pretty well known now. One of the songs that I created for people to memorize things that were made by a Black man was a song called Inventions. I did it in schools, and teachers said, why don't you put that on a CD? You should put that on a CD so that kids can learn it. Actually, back then it was, why don't you put that on a cassette tape? You know what I mean? Why don't you put that on a cassette tape? When you say that to kids now, they're like, what's a cassette tape? You know what I mean? So it morphed into a CD later. But I would go into schools and I would teach children things that were made by a black man. It went like this. We made the super soaker, the almanac, the kitchen table and the bottle cap, electric lamp, coat rack, toilet bowl, hand stamp, the printing press, oil stove, sugar crystal and the cellular phone. And everybody ought to know this. Don't you want to know this? We made the wagon, the cotton chopper, the ticket machine and the door stopper, shampoo, headrest, animal trap, library table, thermostat, the fire escape and the fire extinguisher, the lawn mower, the lemon squeezer, and everybody ought to know this, know this, know this. We made the street sweeper, peanut butter, the rolling pin, the pencil sharpener, refrigerator, the lock, the riding saddle, and the mop, the mailbox, lunchbox, and the swing. Aren't you glad you know these things? 'Cause everybody ought to know this. Aren't you glad you know this? 'Cause these are some of the inventions nobody ever mentions. All these things and many more were made by a black man.
Oh,
so,
goodness.
Thank you so much.
Oh, wow.
I put them in a song, and teachers were saying, you know what, we want to capture that. We want the children to be able to sing that in classes.
They could learn a song like this.
Just like
to memorize,
that.
It'll take long, but a song?
Exactly, and put the rhymes in there. So just syncing up the inventions that rhyme and putting little like words in there, so like the kids are singing little jingles.
Yes.
And so I put that on a CD.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much. And then the teachers started calling for other programs. Like, you know what? We love the Black History series. How about something on women's history? How about something on drug awareness? How about something on character education? So then it was a natural progression for me when I learned about human trafficking to take that information and put it up on stage to teach it to students just the way I teach Black history or women's history or drug awareness.
Yes.
So that's what we're going to be doing on January 11th at my church. So the youth department at my church is hosting us, which I think is awesome. As you know, I've been talking about human trafficking for years now.
Way before it was ever popular.
Way before it was popular, and now people are finally realizing that it's happening here.
Yes.
So we'll be doing clips from my live show called Secrets, so that people can see all of the entryways into human trafficking. Everybody thinks that it's just abduction and throwing somebody in the back of a van. That's only one of the ways that it's done. So if you are anywhere in the New York, New Jersey metropolitan area, meet me at Deliverance Jesus is Coming Church, 815 Springfield Avenue in Newark from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. My professional actors will be there, my band will be there, and we're incorporating the kids into the show. So the kids will be acting and performing, and we have a little pizza party contest going on. So young adult groups who want to do science boards could win a pizza party if they clip the articles about human trafficking in this area. Because that's really, we want the kids to do more than witness the show. We want them to participate. Absolutely. And be engaged in a way that really has the learning be hands-on for them. So if they check out the newspapers and the internet, they'll see that it's happening here. Absolutely. And people need to be aware of it. And so we're going to put it up on stage, take it off the page and put it up on stage so people can experience what it's like for young men, women, boys and girls. People think it's just girls. Yeah. But when you think about what drives this industry, it's people who are really sick, so they are capturing girls and boys.
Yes. And you know, I heard you mention at a conference when you were speaking about how it's not just sex, but it's also organs, you know.
Yes.
Organ donors, like, they're not really donating, but they're taking from
Right,
that.
right.
That is unreal.
Yes, there are.
You see these things on the big screen in the movies, and you have no idea that's what's happening right around the corner.
That's the thing. That's the thing, and I find that I used to say a long time ago when I would watch TV and read the Bible that a lot of the things that you see on TV, you can tell that people have been reading the Bible because they take from the Bible, they distort it, but they make it media so that people who are watching it they are entertained, but they think it's just entertainment.
Exactly, yes,
this is real stuff. It's really happening.
Amazing.
Yeah.
My goodness. And I think they're saying that, well, we know that the numbers in our communities are so high and it gets no media coverage,
Yes.
unfortunately.
Right.
And you think that you hear sporadically, oh, a child is missing. You think, oh, it doesn't happen that much, but it happens more than
Right.
people know. I don't
Right.
know what the statistics are, but
Right.
it's quite heavy, I understand.
You see, and the thing about the statistics, so first let's talk about our neighborhood and how I got involved in human
Yes.
trafficking awareness. What I learned once I was made aware of what human trafficking was that if somebody goes missing in our neighborhood, it does not get the priority that it gets in other neighborhoods. We are finding out a lot of, we are being made aware of human trafficking in our local neighborhoods, primarily because of things like Facebook. It's not getting national attention the way other neighborhoods put the priority on their missing children. So there's an actual article about girls going missing in the Bronx and girls being just swept off the street on their way to school in like urban neighborhoods. And because we are understaffed, the police forces, they are understaffed, and what traffickers also rely on is the fact that people are not going to report what they see. They're gonna mind their business. So if you see a suspicious looking man on the corner, you may not call the police because you think that the police may not come. I don't want to rat out the brothers, whatever's going on. But it's happening in our neighborhoods, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so committed to raising the awareness, because I want people to understand that it's not just what you think you see. It's happening in plain sight. So you're looking for a strange van, and we do have the strange vans. It's been all over Facebook about the vans driving around and driving slow and trying to lure kids and trying to abduct kids. I was doing one of my programs at a school in Queens not too long ago, and a girl was walking to school, and she was FaceTiming her friend while she was walking, and she said, there's a car riding like on the side of me, and the man was trying to get the girl to like come over to the car, and eventually he just got so frustrated, he like stopped in the middle of the street and jumped out and grabbed the girl. But because she was on FaceTime with her friend called 911. The girl screamed, and two neighbors came out from like opposite sides of the street. One man came out with a bat. They were able to hold the man until the authorities came, and it turned out that he was a repeat sex offender. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It seems like there's no fear anymore. They just go in any neighborhood,
Exactly.
anything. I mean, it
Yeah.
just goes to show what they think the climate is about, I guess, police protection,
Right.
or,
Yeah.
being available to
Yeah.
help, like you said.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and that's why we have to be aware. We have to make our children aware. And when I first started doing this work, I would try to talk to parents and schools, and schools were reluctant. They're a little bit more open now, but they were reluctant to hold this conversation in the schools because they felt like, we don't want to alarm the parents, we don't want to alarm the children, and we don't want to start a conversation that makes us look like we are not a safe school.
Well, it has nothing to do with the school.
Right.
Predators can find areas to go into. It doesn't
absolutely.
matter how good or how impoverished it could be or anything. They'll go into any neighborhood where there's
Absolutely.
vulnerability.
Right.
So I don't understand the school saying that. You're more concerned about image in a sense than about
Right.
protecting the kids. That's unbelievable.
Sure, yeah. I was really disappointed, and I thought that I'd be able to rest on the reputation that I have
Yes.
established in the 30 some odd years that I've been doing this work in the schools,
Absolutely.
but they have their own they have their own concerns and their own image to protect. But hopefully now, again, with what's going on and with the laws being changed, and hopefully the schools will open their doors, and then funding is also an issue. So, yeah. Funding is also an issue. So for the schools that say we'd like to have it, they say, but we can't pay to have you bring in a cast of performers. And the schools, the children, they just don't have the attention span to listen to somebody speak for 45 minutes. They're not going to do that. They need to see something happening on stage. Yeah.
Wow. With all the budget cuts, I mean, well, I know that certain communities get more funding than others, and that's an issue that I think people have to fight for, maybe be more vocal on.
Sure, yeah.
But that particularly, because back to the fact that they're worried about protecting the school. I mean, a school is supposed to provide a safe haven and a safe place for children.
Sure.
If someone is abducted, suppose somebody strange gets into the school and abducts a child right out of the bathroom. You don't know the way they, do things, and they could be sued. That would be a legal problem too, wouldn't it? I mean, so I don't understand not making them aware of it.
You said about what if somebody gets into a school and abducts a child out of the bathroom? We have reports on the New Jersey Coalition Against Human Trafficking. So as Lady B said, I am the arts co-chair of the coalition, and we table at events, and I go out and speak at events where people want to raise awareness. And one of the things that we learned from some of the school staff and school personnel is that boys and girls are trafficking classmates in the bathroom in schools. So people are under the misnomer that trafficking happens when you move somebody, when you take them away, but that's not the only way to traffic. There are kids who are being trafficked during the day and they go home every night, or trafficked at night and they go to school during the day. So this one of these incidents where they're trafficking, these students, high school classmates, they want to be inducted into gangs, or they want to make money. So they tell their classmates, meet me in the bathroom, this bathroom on the 3rd floor at this hour, and for $10, I can get you a sexual service. And so the boys line up, and then they grab a girl and force her to do it, or they convince the girl to do it, and they collect the money, and they use it for a gang initiation. Like I needed to get my gang member or my gang leader a certain amount of money, or I just wanted the money for myself to spend it.
Wow,
yeah,
that's amazing.
It's amazing that it's happening right in some of our local schools during the day.
What happens when the parents find out that has happened to the school?
Well,
what do they do then?
Here's the thing about trafficking and any kind of shameful act. What victims are most afraid of is being what they call slut-shamed. So they, a lot of times, won't report it, and that's what traffickers rely on, or they won't participate in any kind of prosecution. So if it happened to me, and then I tell my parents, and she comes to the school says, all right, we're ready to prosecute, but we need her to testify. Mm-hmm. And then the girl's terrified. And she doesn't want that all over school. And she doesn't want that a part of her reputation or her record. She doesn't want people pointing at her. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's why a lot of people say, you know what, it happened, but I don't want to talk about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is really so what are some of the steps that obviously what you've done by organizing, the awareness program at the level that you're doing it is phenomenal.
Thank you.
And sometimes even still trying to get parents to bring their kids out to this to help them get an understanding of it, to protect them so that they know what to look for. Because like you said, so many times they don't even know what it is or what to look for to be aware of.
Right.
So.
Well, one of the things that people can do is they can meet me online. Mm-hmm. Trafficjam.info is my website. It's TRAFFICK.info. It's almost the traditional spelling of traffic, but it has a K on the end of it. So meet me online. You'll learn what you can do to volunteer, how you can get more information, join my mailing list so you find out all the things that are going on, all of the events that I'm hosting. But don't be afraid to have the conversation. Everybody can help with raising the awareness if we start the conversation. You don't have to know everything, and that's why people don't want to bring it up, because they're afraid that they're going to incite some kind of paranoia, and then there's going to be some sort of pandemic of people afraid and paranoid about vans and cars. But we need to have the conversation. Educate yourself on what's going on. Call the coalition. The coalition is NewJerseyHumanTrafficking.org. That website has a plethora of information and resources. Hold an event. Host an event. You can call for free speakers. The coalition will send speakers out to speak to you. Host a jam. On my website, there's an event called, there's a button that says Host a Jam. If you click on Host a Jam, you can have me bring my cast of professional performers and actors out to an event that you're having. If you're having any kind of event, you can add art to your event. So those are some of the things that people can do, but we're even looking for volunteers for the January 11th event. We're always looking for volunteers, because the more informed people are, the more they can have conversations with young people. And you're never too young to talk about safety. I wrote a book, and we can talk about that when we come back if you like. But I wrote a book for young audiences on how to stay safe, and it has a song in the back of it to teach children about safe relationships. And this book is in 10 languages. Wow. And I just feel like all children and parents should have this book that they can read and talk about together, so that we can stay abreast on what safe relationships look like.
Absolutely. That is incredible. It's so wonderful that you have actually put this, that can go right into the hands of adults and children.
Yes.
You think about sometimes kids have slumber parties and things like that. That would be a great time just to talk about it, peacefully, calmly, where the things like that they could learn, even something like that, like that. It's amazing. And since you're online, they could even maybe turn it online and see for the kids to see. I saw this is going back some time ago, and they were showing that if a child were kidnapped, things that they should do if they were put in the trunk of a car. And it was actually, they were pushing this, like, for showing children, to have this conversation with them. And this is like over 6 years ago. Wow. And I don't know what there's, how much of that is, online or available now. I'm sure it is somewhere. But I mean, because you don't know, you see now, there are so many older young women in high school or like you say, abducted and put into vans. Absolutely. Or they could be out at a party. You got to be careful about, even if you think you're drinking punch and what somebody puts in your drink, all those things, college level, everything. Sure. Even young women, that they may even go out to clubs or to however they live, is to be careful. Anytime Amazon sells things that you can, put into your liquid drink to tell whether someone has, tampered with it or not, good. It's really serious. Yeah, it's serious. It is serious. It's amazing. Yep,
it is serious, and that's what people need to understand, that this is not a joke, and this is not a movie. And when I first started talking about human trafficking, every place I'd go, people would say, "Oh, like Taken? Oh, like the movie Taken?" Well, not quite like Taken. Taken did a great job of making it common conversation. Yes. So it was something that people could relate to, like, oh, like it Taken. But there are many entryways. There's what you call boyfriending into trafficking. One woman tells a story about how she dated a guy for 4 years. She dated him all through high school. He was her man. He asked her to move away. It didn't seem strange that he asked her to move away, because they had been dating for 4 years. Moved away together. He locked her out of the apartment one night in her underwear and told her, "Don't come back unless you have $100. So all along, he was grooming her, and that's what these traffickers do. They groom them.
That much
they
time
spend
on
the time,
because the money, I guess, that you can actually, it seems like that's what they always fall back
It's
on.
an investment.
Always, yeah.
It's an investment. This is a financial investment for these people. And you'll see that in one of the scenes on January 11th, where one of the traffickers, the head trafficker, is teaching his group of henchmen and women, because that's what people need to understand. They think, oh, well, I'm looking for men. I need to be aware of men. But women are also traffickers. And there's a methodology that they call use a slave to catch a slave. Yeah. Oh. So they have people who are a part of the stable who will recruit victims for the head trafficker. So like I would befriend you and we'd be buddies for years. And then I'd ask you to come to a party with me and we would drug you. But you trust me, we would drug you and then we would have you gang raped and we would videotape it. And then when you come to, we show you the video and tell you that you can earn the video back. You'll just have to do a certain number of illicit acts for us. So that's one way, friending into trafficking, boyfriending into trafficking. Wow. Of course, there's the actual lure. One of the things that traffickers do is they wait in cars or vans in malls, because all the kids go to the malls now. That's the hot spot. That's the hangout spot. So going to the malls, they wait and they look for people, girls, typically girls, who'll come out alone or come out late at night. And if a spot opens up next to a car that they believe might belong to a woman, and you'll see this in the play, that's why you really got to come and see it. If a spot opens up, they'll park next to that spot. If a family comes out, then they'll just, let the family get in and pull off. But if it's one woman alone and they feel like they can get her, they'll just open that van door and just toss her in.
Wow. Yep. Boy, we are learning so much. This has been so informative, and we're just going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back at the Well After Hours with our special guest, Wincey Terry-Bryant, and we have been so well informed, but there's so much more that Wincey can tell us about what's going on in human and sex trafficking that the viewers need to know. That children, so many parents, kids are in single-parent homes, and they can't take their kids to school. Unfortunately, they have to, send them on their way and hope and pray every day that nothing happens, and they're, like you said, there are predators all around. What can a single mom say, or a single dad, whoever tell their child to help them to be very aware? Because now you have to tell your kids everything. Even though they're kids, they have to grow up so fast.
Right. Well, one of the things that predators do is they look to isolate their prey. You see it in the wild. If lions are going to attack a hyena or vice versa, they usually try to segregate them from the pride or from the group. Predators do the same thing. If you think about a lot of the stories about trafficking, or even women who are victims of domestic violence, and there's a natural intersection between domestic violence and human trafficking. So we work closely with people who are victims, because there's a whole grooming process. Part of the grooming process is to separate you from the people who you can trust. So if you are a young woman or a young man, traffickers try to establish themselves as the person, as a friend. No, I'm the only person you can trust. Once you get alienated from your support system, so now I don't trust my friends anymore, and I don't trust my parents anymore, and I can't trust my teachers anymore, and people don't understand me, but I can trust him because he understands me and he loves me. And so when he becomes my everything, then he can really do with me what he wants. And that's what traffickers rely on. They build you up, and that's one of their tactics. There's actually a book about how to pimp girls, and the book talks about how you build them up, you become their everything, and then you break them down, and then you build them up and you break them down. And it's what you call mind hacking. And when I talk to kids in schools, because these babies are digital natives, they come here with the iPhones and the droids in their hands. They understand when I say hacking. When I talk to them about being victimized by traffickers and guys who have them doing things to sell their bodies, or women who have them doing things to sell their bodies, they challenge me on it. Like, well, I'm working because I'm going to get a promotion, and eventually I'm going to be what they call the bottom B. I will be his partner, and I won't actually have to turn tricks anymore. All I'll have to do is find the girls for him. What they don't understand is that what they do is they eventually toss you out into the street when they're done with you. So what parents can do, even of very young children, is to put your children in groups of children, and parents take turns walking the kids. So maybe I can't walk my baby every day, but maybe you can walk them on Tuesdays and I can walk them on Mondays, and we get a group of kids together so the children are never alone, because predators are less likely to target groups of people. They usually target one or two people because they don't want a big commotion. Yes. If they run into a group and they try to take one kid out the group, you got five other kids who are going to run in, like, in different directions and disperse, and somebody's going to go for help. Yeah. So that's my suggestion to parents. I understand your concern. Get in groups, form a block association, get with groups of other parents, join the PTA or the PTO, talk about how somebody can maybe drive the children and you guys can take turns. Work it out with your boss that maybe I come in late on Wednesdays because I have to drive the kids, and then my neighbor will pick them up or something like that. Because our kids' safety, their lives are at stake. And I saw a police officer online talking about safety, the importance of safety, and he said, what you don't understand is that if somebody grabs you, you might as well be on the moon. We won't know where to look for you. Once you are taken, we won't know whether you're in a house, and that's one of the things that traffickers thrive on. They hide people in plain sight. So if somebody's in one of these buildings, even around here, we won't know that. We won't know that. One girl tells a story, a formerly trafficked victim said that they would have her fold up her body and get into a box, and they would put her under a bed every night. So after she did all the tricking that she had to do, they would put her in like a large box and like make her fold up. One of the reasons for that is so that if she ever got out from under there, she couldn't run. Once your legs are crossed like that, it takes a while for the circulation. She said, and then they staged a raid. And they came in and they said, does anybody here need help? Anybody here? And she screamed for help, and they pulled her out of the box and beat her up. She thought it was the police coming to help her, but it was the traffickers setting up the girls. So she doesn't know. Exactly. So they have many, many techniques, and people, when you watch it, there was a special on CNN about girls who were being trafficked. They were being labor trafficked, so they were forced to work, braid hair 13, 16 hours a day in a shop in East Orange on Central Avenue. And CNN did a whole story on it, and a lot of people had the question. Right in our backyard. Right down the street. And people, you're walking it. This is the thing that we teach. You are looking at victims every day. You just have to learn what to look for so that you can recognize nail salon. Exactly. And the girls, they asked the girls, well, why didn't you run? Well, the reason that they didn't run was because the woman who brought them over here from Africa took their papers. So she took their passports, she took their visas, and told them that if you are caught out in the street without me, you'll be arrested and you'll rot in jail. So it's a whole mind hacking. Exactly. It's a mind game. They think that everybody who has you chained, every trafficker has you chained and you can't run away. Some of these people are such victims that they are walking amongst us and we don't know that we're looking at them.
And when I think about it, that the church has work to do, because we could be reaching out more. We don't even know that.
Right.
Like you said, we could be sitting in salons or hair braiding stations and don't even know it. To look at the age and see how they are, and they can have conversation because someone is there monitoring.
Right.
It's like you have to watch and see,
Yes.
And see, we have to be aware.
Sure.
When we go places. That we could, like they say, see something, say something.
Exactly. And everybody needs to learn the human trafficking hotline number. It's actually in this book. We need to learn the human trafficking hotline number so that if you see something, you can say something. I'd like to give the number. Can I give it now?
Please.
All right. So the National Human Trafficking hotline number is 888-373-7888. I'll say that again.
Yes.
Yep. 888-373-7888. And you can also text the word help to be free. It's 233-733. So if you're in a situation and you think that there's something unusual about the situation, call for help. It's better that you call and be wrong than not call and be right, and then be sorry that you didn't call. People ask me how I got involved in this work. I'm an alum of Benedictine Academy, which is an all-girls school in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and I was the keynote speaker one year, and they asked me would I come back and speak to the girls, teach them songwriting. That was the year that the Super Bowl was coming to New Jersey. Wow. So when I got there, there's an academia to songwriting. There's a structure. So I said, okay, sure. What's the song about? They say trafficking. I say trafficking. Okay, so I write on the board and I misspell it because I think we're talking about car traffic, like automobile traffic. They say, no, it has a K on it. And I'm thinking, trafficking with a K, never heard of it. Okay, so I'll put it down. I thought it was maybe like a slang, like a new slang word that the kids were making up. I said, okay, all right, now this is the part. So we're going to the hook of any song is what you say over and over again. So what do we want people to know about trafficking? And they said, it happens here in New Jersey. I said, it happens here in New Jersey. Okay, so I write that down like it happened. What happens here? Okay, now what happens here? We'll use the verses to give the meat of the subject. What happens here? Well, people are victimized every day. People are sex slaves. People are abducted. The youngest person in the system is 2 years old. The oldest person in the system is 76 years old. I'm writing all this down. I'm like, what? Here in New Jersey? So we wrote a song together, and they explained to me why the focus, because I was asking, why are we talking about this now? Is this new? They said, well, because the Super Bowl is coming, and whenever any big event happens in any place, people from all over the world converge upon that city to buy little boys and girls, not to attend the sports event, but to buy and sodomize and rape little boys and girls. I was so broken and messed up. Now, I'm a performer, so I held it together. But when I got in the car, it took me almost 2 hours to get out of the parking lot. I just leaned over on my steering wheel. I called my husband. I cried. I said, we got to do something. I had never heard of that. I can't believe that. We got to warn people. And that's how I got involved in this work.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's once you know, you can never not know.
No. Yes.
So,
well, that is amazing. Oh my goodness. It really will wake you up.
Yeah.
Make you, start really looking at things different. You look at children on the street. Sometimes I'm riding, I'm like, I see the child walking in the rain. You almost want to say,
right. You can't. And that's the sad thing about it, because you want to be a safe place for children, but now that they have made strangers, there was a time when every adult was a potential safe place.
Yes.
Now every adult is a potential danger.
Yes.
And so you can't help the children, but it is scary when I see kids walking and you want to know who they're talking to. When you see children from different countries with people who are, obviously like citizens, you want to know if that is a legitimate situation. It's scary. You see young girls with older men, and you want to know, do you really know him, or are you some sort of victim? Should I make a call? It's scary, and New Jersey is a hot spot for human trafficking because we're so close to so many highways and ports. So we're near the seaport, we're near the airports. We have these international airports. We have places down in the Port of Elizabeth where they have those huge pods where you can hide people in pods. And traffickers also know that you can abduct a girl, a boy, a woman, a man, and be in another state in less than an hour. So you can be in New York, you can be in Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and traffickers know this, and so they ride the seaboard. They just keep moving these people, and we don't know if the New Jersey State Police should be looking for them, if New York should be looking for them, and that's one of the things that traffickers thrive on, and that's why New Jersey really has a pivotal role to play in helping to raise awareness.
Wow. When someone reports immediately that my child didn't come home from school, is there's some kind of system in place where they don't do anything until what, 24 hours?
It's supposed to be, it used to be, I believe it used to be 48, and now it's 24, and we are also working to get those things eliminated, because the time where you could be in 24 hours with a kid.
You've
right.
given them,
right.
carte blanche to
Absolutely.
Just get away in time.
Right. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Timing is everything.
Timing is everything. If we could act quickly, and even with these, we have these devices, and I am an advocate of the devices that help you surveil situations. So if you have a special video camera or a video doorbell at home, and you can set those things up in your home so you can watch your children if you can't be there. But there was recently, you saw that. There recently,
yes,
right?
The whole big thing is
exactly.
going on, that people can hack right into.
They can hack into those systems. So even that is just, it's so. What we're talking about, if you didn't happen to see it, was that the Ring doorbell was hacked by some predator who had been apparently talking to and watching a young girl in her bedroom, and he was trying to convince her that he was Santa Claus. And so that, of course, is a concern. I always tell parents, you need to see who your children are talking to, because with this media, the way it works, all of these media devices are two-way devices now. So people can hack into these devices, and your kids think they're playing an innocent game, some video game with one of their friends, when they don't know that they're actually playing with an adult, or they're talking to a stranger. And this policewoman was a part of a sting operation where she posted a picture of herself as an 11-year-old girl on Instagram, and she said that she got 9 hits within 60 seconds of grown men tweeting or sending her pictures, so inboxing her pictures of their lower body parts uncovered, watching them do things to themselves, commit sexual acts to themselves, thinking that they're talking to an 11-year-old girl, telling her, I want to be your boyfriend, we can be Instagram boyfriend and girlfriends. It's when we trust each other and you can tell me anything. And then I'll give you things to do, like it'll be just like you sucking your thumb, but I'll show you other things that you can do as long as you know how to suck your thumb. You'll know how to do this. So yeah, and these are grown men talking to who they think is an 11-year-old girl.
Yes, I remember one of the, in fact, I remember when my grandson was young, and my great-nephew, I had them sit down and watch a documentary. I think it was ABC that did it, where they had a house set up, and they had a young woman. She was really grown, but she looked like a little girl.
Yes.
And she had been dealing with it, and they were coming to the house.
Yes. Yes.
That was amazing.
I saw that.
Yes, and I sat down and watched with them and was telling them, I said, see, and there was every person from every walk of life.
Yes.
You could think of lawyers, doctors, pastors, priests, rabbis, all these people. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Right.
Unbelievable.
Yep. And that's the thing that people need to know, because they think that they're looking for a big, burly, brawny, like man, when you might be looking for a sweet little old lady who's a recruiter. You might be looking for a pastor, and not necessarily somebody who's posing as a pastor. It could be a real pastor.
They were.
We have seen real pastors.
Yes.
We have a beautiful woman on the coalition who is a survivor of human trafficking, and she goes out and speaks, and she talks about how when she got arrested once, she was grateful to be arrested because she thought now she'd actually get some help. And the policeman raped her and gave her right back to a trafficker. So it's so important, parents, for you to have a relationship with your children where they feel that it is safe to talk to you about anything, because any kind of evil thrives in secrecy.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
it thrives in secrecy, and that's what these traffickers depend on. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote this book. When we talked about human trafficking, one of the things that I noticed was that nobody was talking to the early childhood population. Wow. And when I went around to parents, most parents said, I don't know how to start a conversation about trafficking with a little kid, but I do want them to be safe. I said, then that's what we'll talk to them about. We'll talk to them about being safe. And so I wrote this book, and I put a song in the back of it, because the parents can read the book. Little children won't be able to read the book. They can color, but the song they can learn together about safe. I gotta be safe. Safety is important to me, and anyone who cares will want to help me be safe. I gotta be safe. Wow. Nothing could be more important to me than safety, and then give them details. I'll stay away from strangers 'cause they're not my friends. I'll always tell my parents where I'm going, where I've been. And when I play, I'll always stay in well-lit space. And I'll use my voice to shout it when I don't feel safe. Safe. I gotta be safe. Nothing could be more important to me than safety. So letting them understand that the people who care about you will want you to be safe too.
Yes.
You know, that's important. And as far as churches go, because you did mention churches, traffickers are now targeting churches, and that's what people need to understand. Because in church, you know, church was kind of like when we were coming up, church was like the safe community family house. You know, like once I got inside the church, I didn't have to watch my kids anymore because we're all family. I know everybody here. But as we talked about earlier, the investment of time that traffickers are willing to put in, and you'll see it on January 11th. If you come, there's a scene about churches and how the trafficker is teaching other henchmen, other potential traffickers, how to identify people in churches. So first of all, he tells them that, you know, kids are everywhere. You can wait in the bathroom and the kids will come in the bathroom. So if you just want to get a quick thrill from molestation, wait in a bathroom, and a child will eventually come in the bathroom at church. Most times not chaperoned, because in church we think we're safe. But also, the traffickers now identify people who go to the altar and who are alone. So look for people who show up alone and leave alone. Join the church, or come to the church often enough for them to think you're a member. Join the clubs and the pastor's aid. Join the groups at the church, because this is not a quick fix. We got to put the time in so people start to trust us. And then one of the members will start to invite you to some coffee clutches or some events. Go to those, because then they won't think it's strange when you invite them to something. Invite them to your house, and boom, you got them. And that's it. And it might take 2 years, it might take 3 years, but put the time in, because the money you're going to make off this one person is going to be well worth it. Wow. So
I'm just thinking about that. I'm trying to figure out, there are some things, like you say, the traffickers will put time in to do. I'm trying to figure out, what is it that they won't do that that you could say, okay, if I invite them here and they don't, you know what I mean? People don't want to be around, like, they always say, well, the enemy doesn't want to he doesn't want to spend time at the altar praying. He doesn't really want to, there's some things consistently that they just don't do.
Sure. Well, one of the things that self-admitted traffickers, or people who are converted and they're not a part of the life anymore, say, is they don't like to put the time in to break down people with high self-esteem. So if you have a healthy self-esteem, and that's another caveat for parents, to build your children up and encourage them, so that when they get a compliment from a stranger, it's not foreign for them, and they're not so desperate for it. Because traffickers say one of their techniques is that they walk through the mall, and if they see a girl and they say, "Oh, you're so pretty," and she says, "Thank you," and she keeps walking, he says, "Well, that's not my victim, because she has some self-esteem. It would take too long to break her down. But if I see a girl and I say, 'You're so pretty,' and she says, 'Oh, you think so? Well, my eyes are too close together, my nose is big,' he says, 'That's my girl.'" I can work on her because she doesn't have self-esteem. So that's one of the things that they like to avoid. Yeah, you probably won't catch them praying at the altar, right? They probably won't be there for long periods of time. Exactly. They probably won't be there tarrying. But
It's another burden on the pastor because you don't even know. I mean, look at how many altar boys and things in
Sure,
church
sure.
that have happened. It's not. You have to have an open conversation
Yeah.
to people even coming to church. Say, listen, I really can't vouch for
Right.
everybody in here.
That's absolutely
You
right.
have to say, I can't vouch for everybody in here.
Sure.
You still have an obligation as a parent.
Sure.
You know? And this is where I think maybe churches, if they can't get together, I know you said sometimes there's a cost that may be involved to help, bring, because it's
Sure.
involved. If they could join together as maybe 2 or 3 churches and have a program.
Have an event.
You can't afford to do it by yourself. Get together with some, because we all have children.
And we
in
should
our-
get together.
Yeah,
Exactly. I mean, we've got 2 and 3 churches on every street.
Yeah.
Get together. I was teaching arts integration in Alabama last year, and I was driving. I got there on that Sunday because I would be training teachers for that week. I was driving down a street, and I saw church up the street tonight, church up the street. Like all of the roads led to one particular church. So apparently they amalgamate their services periodically and they all have church together. For a cause like this, I think the churches
Yes,
should join together, get one big venue, and then let's get together and teach these children so that they really understand what's at stake. And it's not a one-time, I mean, you don't learn history once and you don't learn math once.
Exactly.
So this needs to be an ongoing
Yes,
conversation so that people understand what's at stake here.
I think I saw it on Facebook where there was a pastor in Irvington who said to his congregation, because of this very thing happening, that we need to make sure that our women are getting to their cars safely.
Yes, yes.
And that our children are, and he made that statement and said, for the brothers to make sure that they're walking,
Yeah.
you just have to make sure you have the right brother walking.
Sure,
you know what I
right,
mean?
right,
But I'm saying
right.
He's aware of that and trying
Right.
to make the congregation actually aware of that.
Yes.
So that something can be done.
My bishop does that. So again, I go to Deliverance Jesus is Coming in Irvington, and Bishop James H. Everett makes sure that the gentlemen do not leave the parking lot till all the ladies have gone.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, this has just been so informative and such a blessing
Thank
to
you
have
for
you
having
here
me.
today.
Thank you for having me,
And
Lady
I'm gonna
Beverly.
leave the door open, my sister, to say whenever you want to come back.
Thank you. I
Please
appreciate
do,
that.
because
I will be
we
back.
can't talk about this enough.
You can't.
We can't.
Yeah, I appreciate that
And
open door.
sometimes if you can't do a lot, do something.
Yeah,
you
that's-
can do something.
that's-
And so this is
everybody can do
that we
something.
can
Yep,
do,
yep,
and
start the
more people
conversation.
keep hearing it.
Yep.
We'll make them aware of it. So I thank you for being with me.
Thank you for
today,
having
taking
me.
time to come to the Well After Hours.
Yes, love
And
it.
I'm going to put information online at the end of this program that you'll be able to know how to contact Winceyco and see, what you can do to bring her to your group or your sessions, or provide some type of venue where she can really do the awareness program that she had, because she has so much to offer, really so much to offer. You won't be disappointed. I'm telling you, the children will love it and the adults will be so happy. And you'll feel better to know that you actually did something. You did something to try to help and make people aware of it. So we're going to put the dates for the upcoming conference. When is it?
January 11th. Yep, January 11th, 2020, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., Irvington, New Jersey, 815 Springfield Avenue.
Okay, wonderful. So look for it, and also look for the Well After Hours every Thursday, 7:30 p.m. on Facebook and on YouTube. And thank you for being with us today. And we look forward to seeing you again next time, okay? Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.